a sieving mechanism. If there is a mistake, for example, done at the lower level, it can be addressed at a higher level. Otherwise, the independence of the judiciary presupposes that when a judicial officer is handling something, we cannot interfere even if we are bosses. So that's why there is that sieving mechanism of dearly, what we are saying is that election petitions must be given priority so that the judges can complete them in time, and so that people can know whether that is a person who is validly elected or whether someone else should be actually occupying that position which was declared. How you consider an issue? So it has a sieving mechanism. If there is a mistake, for example, done at the lower level, it can be addressed at a higher level. Otherwise, the independence of the judiciary presupposes that when a judicial officer is handling something, we cannot interfere even if we are bosses. So that's why there is that sieving mechanism of the hierarchy. So if something is done wrong at the lower level, it is addressed at the higher level.
Yeah. On the issue of uniform sentencing,
yes.
You had it featuring most in the conference also.
Yeah.
Say something about it.
Yeah, you see, usually when one of the things we promote in the court system is what we call predictability. When someone comes to the court system, he should know what is the likely outcome. So now when it comes to sentencing, we don't want someone to commit murder and then one judge is sentencing him to 3 years, another one is giving him a life sentence. So we must have some form of uniformity. It might not be the same, but at least we must have some kind of range, especially for the same offenses, so that one judge does not acquit, for example, and then another one convicts, where the same offense actually has occurred of similar nature. So that's why we want to come up with a policy on uniformity of sentencing. Kind of like, of course, not all offenses are the same, but at least the offenses within the same aspect should have kind of an acceptable range.
I know on corruption,
yes.
This is one of the vices that has always been complained about in the judiciary. For you as the new Chief Justice, what message do you have for the suspected corrupt people in the judiciary?
Now, of course, there is no room for corruption in the judiciary. The moment we discover you have no space within the judiciary. We have the same thinking with the Judicial Service Commission that disciplines judges and magistrates, that the moment you are caught in any corruption scandal, you don't have any space in the judiciary. You must go home. So in other words, we are going to implement a zero tolerance to corruption approach. However, of course, as you know, corruption sometimes can be actual or it can be perceived. Sometimes what we think are corrupt practices are actually perceived corruption. But if we have the actual one where we get you into it, then definitely your space in judiciary is not there. You can't survive in judiciary. Because now our judges retire with 80% of their emoluments. So, actually, if you look at our retired justices, I mean, you have seen some of them inside there. They look better than us who are in service. So I don't think that that's a proper analysis. So our government has really tried to care for the justices as retired. Because in the past, a judge lives an isolated life when he is working. And now you have been in service for 20 years, isolated. Now when you get out, why they would grow old very fast is that you cannot join the business world. You cannot, because you've been away from the public. Yeah, so when the government realized that, they said, okay, let's have a judge retiring with 80% of the emoluments. So in that way, then a judge will have a comfortable life after retirement, because the other problems of isolation cannot follow the judge into retirement. So now they are really fine. If you've seen them, many of them look younger than us who are serving. Now have counseling services for judges and magistrates. You see, what happens is that the job of a judge has a lot of trauma associated with it, especially when it comes to cases like murder. When you are trying a murder case, you are going to have the police tendering in photos of, a chopped head, intestines out. Those photos, sometimes they can cause trauma. So we now have counseling services, which is a new approach. So that those who feel like they need to talk to someone to be, assisted mentally, psychologically, they can go and get those services. And that is a form of wellness we are trying to encourage. Of course, we can't send them to Butabika because Butabika itself is traumatic. When they see you entering Butabika and coming out, they will think that you have lost your wires. So the counseling services we have are outside the mental hospital. I think we can stop at that. Thank you so much. Yeah, quite a number of resolutions, especially in the area of alternative justice system, in respect of awareness, in respect of training institutions of uptaking ADR, in respect of case management. There are quite a number of resolutions who have come up with us, you noticed inside the hall when we were making the resolutions. Yeah. You know, under the law, election petitions take precedence over other matters. In fact, when they file them, we are supposed to suspend everything else and deal with them. So ideally, what we are saying is that election petitions must be given priority so that the judges can complete them in time, and so that people can know whether that is a person who is validly elected or whether someone else should be actually occupying that position which was declared. And that is the essence of handling them quickly, so that the people's representatives should be those chosen by the people themselves. Only 10% of the disputes do come to the court system, because this is the Hill report which actually carried out that study. So meaning that 90% of the disputes are actually settled down there in the villages, in the rural areas, in our communities, in our cultural institutions, in our religious institutions. Some of them we never get to know. You will find, for example, in Islam, they have the Qadi courts which they implement within the mosques, but you will never know because they don't publish these things. But for us in the justice sector, we know that they do happen. So we shall use the multi-pronged approach. This current system, we can't do away with it. It's very difficult to do away with the system just like that. But we shall promote more alternative justice systems.
For the justice seekers.
Kintu kino kye bayita wellness. Olina kubanga oli mulamu ng'omuntu. Osobola okubeera omulamuzi ng'olina ebyambalo byo, abantu bakussaamu ekitiibwa, naye nga mu bulamu bwo oyinza okuba ng'olina ebikukosa. N'olwekyo okubeera omulamu olina okubeera n'emikwano gy'osobola okwogera nagyo, ng'obabuulira ebikuluma, ng'obategeeza obulamu bwo engeri gye bugendamu. Bano abalamuzi abantu babalabanga abantu abali waggulu nnyo, abatalina bizibu, naye nabo bantu. N'olwekyo buli mulamuzi alina kusooka kukkiriza nti naye muntu, alina ebimukosa, alina ebimuluma, ate yeetaaga kubeera n'emikwano gisobola okumuyambako okubanga omutwe gwe guterera.